Hey LearnDash fans. In this video, we're going to look at the new feature in LearnDash 4.1 where you can now create a course from a video playlist. Now, currently as of version 4.1, this only works with YouTube, Vimeo, and Wistia. LearnDash hopes to add the ability for even more platforms in the future using playlists from many more video platforms, but there's certain things that those video platforms need to share with LearnDash and make available via an API in order to add those additional ones. So for right now, it's just those three. In this video, I'm going to show you an example of how to pull in lessons into a course from a YouTube video playlist. But in the future, I will look to see if I can do a video on how to do this with Vimeo as well. I personally don't use Wistia. I don't think many people in the LearnDash community do. So I probably won't be doing anything on that, but I will try to do a Vimeo one because that process is going to be just slightly different in terms of where to grab that Vimeo URL. That's the main thing that's going to differ, but everything that happens on your LearnDash site is probably going to be pretty much the same with YouTube and Vimeo. So let's take a look at how it works. So here I am on the LearnDash LMS and courses page where it lists out all of my courses. And up in the top right corner, not only do we have the Add New button, which we've always had, but now we have this new button called Create from Video Playlist. So let's click on that and see what it opens up. So you'll be sent here to this new page, and it's just called Create a Course from a Video Playlist. It lets you know that it only works with YouTube, Vimeo, and Wistia for right now. And the first thing it's asking for here is the playlist URL. So what we need to do is go find that. So let's hop over into another browser tab. So here I am on a channel page, and this is probably one of the best ways I'd recommend to get to your playlists is you navigate to the channel page, and at first you'll land on the home tab, but all channels, if they have playlists that they've created, will have a playlist tab. So I clicked on that, and here I am, and you can see this channel has a handful of different playlists we can use. And underneath the playlist, there's a View Full Playlist. So what you could do is you could hover over that and right-click and grab that link address or that URL there. But I'm going to go ahead and actually click this link to open it up just to show you a few things. So I will come up here and I will copy this URL. This is the playlist URL we're going to use in just a second. But I do want to show you here that there's a few pieces of information that LearnDash is going to pull in when you create this new course. So you want to make sure that these things are correct on YouTube before you go through the process of telling LearnDash, hey, create a course. Because once you do that, then you'd have to edit it after the fact. So you want to make sure that your playlist title, which is going to be right here, is accurate, and that's what LearnDash is going to use for the course title. The other thing here is the playlist description. If you have one, many playlists don't have a description, and that's fine. But if you do, LearnDash is going to pull in this playlist description, and they're going to put it in content for your course. So they're going to put it in the block editor. It's just going to come in as a classic block, but this content will get pulled in. It's easy to delete. If you don't want it, you can just simply delete that block. No worries there. But just know that that's where that information is coming from. And then obviously you'll want to have the titles of all of your videos in this playlist correct. Make sure that they are correct because that's what LearnDash will use for the lesson titles. And then make sure they're in the proper order because LearnDash will import these in the order in which they appear in your playlist. So if you need to edit your playlist, rearrange these, make sure they're in the proper order that you want them in. That'll be the order of the lessons in the course. Once you've double checked all of that, you can go ahead and copy the playlist URL. And for YouTube, it should look like this. It should say youtube.com/playlist *list equals, and then a long string of letters and numbers after that. So I'll just copy that again in my playlist. We'll hop back over into LearnDash and continue on. So we're back on the Create a Course from a Playlist screen. We're going to enter the playlist URL in here, and we'll click Load the Playlist Data. It may take a few seconds to load, especially if you have a playlist with a lot of videos. The one that I had just had 10 videos, so it wasn't too long, but it did take maybe 3 or 4 seconds. So just be patient. It may not look like it's doing anything, but it is loading in those lessons and creating those for you. So what you'll see on this next page here is it will show you that the course, and then it'll put in quotes, this is your playlist title, is now going to be your course title. And it shows you that it is pulling in 10 lessons. I guess it is important to note at this point that there is no way to pull in any kind of topics. So with LearnDash, you can have sections, lessons, topics, and quizzes. And this functionality just allows you to use lessons. So you can't create additional topics beneath any lessons. There's only one level of structure with all of these different playlists for YouTube, Vimeo, and Wistia. So there's only one level that LearnDash can pull in, and that's the lessons. But you'll have the number of lessons here that you can double check. And then LearnDash gives us two options for this course. Now, you can change these later if you need to in the course settings, but LearnDash is trying to make things a little bit easier for you here when you go to create this course. So how will users gain access? This is your access modes. Again, you can change these in your settings after the fact if you need to, but I would go ahead and set it right now. So open, free, and closed, those are just simple options. If you do choose buy now or recurring, you'll notice that you've got an additional couple of options here for recurring, and then for buy now, you've got the price option as well. So you can set those, and again, those are editable again once you've created your course. You can go back into settings and change them later. So I'll just say closed, and then you can choose your course progression, whether you want it linear or freeform. So this requires everybody to go through the course in the designated step sequence. They can't move on to jump ahead to lesson 5 unless they've completed all 4 of the first lessons first. Freeform lets them jump around a little bit. So I'm going to go freeform, we'll go closed, and then the final step, once you're ready, is to create this Create the Course button. So you'll get thrown back onto your All Courses screen, and you'll notice we have a new course at the top here, How to Edit Images in WordPress, free course. This was our playlist title, and so this was created for us. I will also just jump over to the Lessons tab just to show you that we have 10 new lessons all right here, and these are the video titles of all of the videos that were in our playlist, so all of our lessons were created. So I'll come back over to courses, and let's take a look at the builder. So I'll click builder here, which will take us right into the builder for this new course. And exactly what I wanted to see is what I see in here. So I see that all of the videos were imported. Now it actually looks like they were not imported in the correct order. So this may be something that I'll have to report to LearnDash and see what they say about this. But the Understanding the WordPress Media Library was the first one, I believe. Yep. And then how to upload images, and then an overview of the screen. And we've got how to flip images, how to restore. So these are not in the correct order. So that is something that you'll want to double check. I had hoped that they would be pulled in the correct order, so I'm not sure if that's a bug or just something with maybe how I've set my playlist up, but definitely come into your builder and double check. And then if you need to move these items around, you can of course just click and drag, or you can use the arrows to move things up and down as well. So let's move this one up here. But definitely double check this. So we've got all of our lessons in the builder, and we can rearrange them how we need to. Let's see. The other thing we're going to look at here is settings. So let's click over to the settings tab, and let's just double check that LearnDash imported our access mode correctly. So I did choose closed, and you'll see here that it does say closed. So if you need to add a button URL, or you want to add a course price to show up on your course grid, then you will need to come back in here in settings. There's no way to do that as you're creating the course from the playlist. So you will have to come back in here to your settings. I would recommend that anyway, just to double check everything and to add any new settings if you need prerequisites, or you're using points, or there's access expiration, any of that kind of stuff. And then you'll see course progression. We chose freeform, so it set that up for us, which is great. But like I said, you can always just change it in here as you need to. Then if you're using the course grid, you've got those settings, and all the other settings that come with a typical LearnDash course are here. Let's take a look at the course page. So this is what I was saying. If you have a playlist description, it will get pulled into the block editor right here, and LearnDash imports it as a classic block. But you obviously may not want this playlist description, and if you had one, that's totally fine. You can simply just remove that block. Now you've got your block editor where you can create whatever content you want for this course. The final thing that I want to show you, and this is an important piece of this course creation from a video playlist option, is let's take a look at one of our lessons. So I'm just going to pick any one of them here. So we'll click on this one to open it up. And there's a couple of things that we can take note of. So on this lesson page, the description of the video does get pulled in again to a classic block. and it does remove all the spacing and all of um, the only formatting is really the line breaks that you may have in your description for the video, and those do all get removed and it gets thrown in a classic block, which isn't the greatest experience. It'd be nice if this was separated out into individual paragraph blocks, but that may just be a limitation with the way that YouTube passes its data through their API. But anyway, here is our video description that gets pulled into the lesson page. You will likely want to change some of that, depends on kind of what playlist you're using and what you were using these videos for previously. But you can, again, just edit this in the block editor or completely delete this block and just start over if you need to. And the final piece, which is really important to note, is that when you come over to settings on your lesson, we notice here that LearnDash has automatically enabled video progression, and it has inserted the video URL for that lesson here in the video URL field. Now, it doesn't set any of the other settings, so if you do want to have auto start or choose any of these other different options that LearnDash provides when you use video progression, you will need to come into each lesson and set them up on your own. There's no way to globally go ahead and say, hey, for every single lesson in this course, I want to do a certain thing. You can't do that when you import your playlist, so you will have to come into each lesson individually if you need to set some of these options here. And the other obvious thing here is that some people import their videos and just embed them using the block editor. So they would be here on the lesson page and they would create a new block, and they might create a YouTube block or a Vimeo block and simply embed their video here in their course. So if that's what you want to do, then just know that you're going to need to come into the settings of each and every lesson, get rid of this video URL and disable video progression, and you still will then need to come in here, add a block, and embed your video. So all you'd really be benefiting from if you do want to do things that way is the automatic creation of all of your lesson titles and your course title and having it automatically throw those lessons in the course. But you'd have to do a lot of extra work coming in here, embedding each video still, coming into the settings, turning off video progression. So this is really designed for those folks who know that they want to use LearnDash's video progression. You can find out more about that in LearnDash's documentation, so I'm not going to go over all the features of that, but this is designed for people who want to use video progression because this will automatically create that for you. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys learned a little bit there about how to use the new video playlist course creation option in LearnDash 4.1. And I will try to answer any comments if you have them, place them down below, and I'll try to help you guys out. And I will catch you in the next video.